Why are Sufi orders called tariqas? In the early centuries of Islam, a tariq referred to a path traced across the sand. A clear example is the narrow track left behind by camels walking in a single line, one after another. But this was no ordinary path, as it was fragile and could easily vanish overnight with the wind. So the question is, why use such a word for the way of the Sufis? Sufis, often misunderstood today, do not act randomly, least of all in the words they choose to define their path. Their terms, like their architecture, are carefully selected and is layered with deliberate meaning. The word tariqa can be understood through the image of a caravan whose final destination is an oasis. The caravan leader is the Sufi sheikh, the passengers are the disciples, and the oasis is the haqiqa, the reality of God. A Sufi order is called a tariqa because the path does not exist outwardly in the sand, but inwardly in the hearts of Sufis. In other words, if someone seeks a shortcut to the oasis by trying to follow the traces left behind, will risk becoming lost in the desert of spirituality. That's why a tariqa is called a tariqa, because it is a path that appears behind the guide, the teacher. As soon as he is gone, the way disappears. This stands in stark contrast to the term sharia, whose root in Arabic refers to a clear road or highway, a path that is open, accessible, and familiar to everyone. The Sharia represents the external laws of Islam, visible and clear for all to follow. Because these laws are direct commandments from God, they are evident and straightforward. This is why the tariqa is so different and requires a guide. It is not an obvious road like the Sharia. The seeker instead is journeying not through the outward manifestations of the law, but the inner dimensions of the self. All authentic tariqas trace their lineage back to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the first guide who led his companions to the reality of God. In other words, every true Sufi order preserves this chain of guides who showed the way, generation after generation up to the present day. And so the tariqa is not just a name, but a living path, one passed from heart to heart, guide to disciple across centuries. The word is a reminder that while the road of Sharia is open and accessible to all, the path of the tariqa is best walked with a guide, leading seekers to the oasis of truth. If you found this insightful, don't forget to like, share, follow, and leave a comment below.